Hello, we're here at the Open World Forum 2010 and I'm joined now by Gabriele Ruffatti from SpagoWorld and Margarita Manterola from the Debian project. And we're going to talk about the role of women in free software projects. So first off, let me ask you both. Do you believe that there is sexism in the free software world, and is it a problem that we need to address?
I do believe that there is sexism in the free software world and that it is a problem that we have to address. Many men don't realize when they are acting in a sexist fashion. So the first step to address it would be to get men to realize that they are being sexist.
I don't know. Probably sexism exists, but probably is not the main issue. The main issue is to have more women in open source projects and to have a different behavior in open source project that today is too much connected with a technology vision and a competitive vision, probably. That is one of the main stereotypes, but probably attitudes of current open source developers.
Okay, so as a business owner, one of the statistics that we've heard over the years is that there are more women developers in the commercial software world, in the professional software world, than in the open source world. As a business owner, do you have any particular practices that you've adopted to ensure that there's a greater percentage of women working in your development teams?
What I can do is to hire as much women as possible, but the problem is that open source is correlated with the IT market, and there is a low offer of girls coming from university. It's also a problem of changing probably the IT image to have more women entrants in the IT market.
Margarita, do you think that positive discrimination is required in free software projects? Do we need to actively recruit women?
From the community point of view, what we try to do is to get the message out that women are welcome in our teams. I wouldn't say that's positive discrimination, but it's a way of getting the women that might be interested to hear the message. If you don't say, hey, women are welcome, they might think they are not.
So what is your opinion on initiatives like the GNOME Women's Outreach Project, which was launched recently, which is an active effort to recruit specifically women to join the project?
I think that any initiative to improve the presence of women is welcome, but these are our transitional phase, are the means to achieve the real objective. And in my opinion, the target is to have a mix of men and women in our teams, and to focus not just only on some aspects like technology or something else, but to have a wider approach to information technology and open source. Nowadays, open source is in the knowledge society, and open source is not just code, but it's also sharing knowledge, is also a cognitive world. And to face this world, we need a mix of men and women and of their attitudes.
Margarita?
I think the GNOME Women Initiative, it's a good one, because when getting more women to the project, it's going to also change the project to realize that women are capable of doing the same things as men, because most men consider that women are for other stuff and not for doing the same things they do. So getting more women to the project is going to change the project and get it more women-friendly.
That is one of the criticisms that's been made against projects like Debian Women, GNOME Women, and so on, is that in some sense they are ways of women getting involved with other women within the project, but not really integrating themselves into the project as equals with their male partners. Would you agree with that criticism?
No, I wouldn't. I came into Debian through the Debian Women project, and I completely integrated to the project. The women part, it's just a way to make women feel more welcome to the project, but it's not like a small club. It's just a way of entering the project.
Anyway, is not a problem of the means you adopt to achieve the goal. Quotas, women's group could help depending on the context. The important is not to have some clubs or some quotas or some means that are the target. To understand that it is a transitional phase to have a wider mixed community, not about men and women, but about a mix of different behavioral traits.
So, Gabriele, you mentioned that the means is perhaps not the most important thing. That if we agree on the goal being to have a more diverse community, that the means are unimportant. But I think, is it not true that the means is in some sense the sticking point because we don't really know how to fix the problem? Do you have any ideas on how we might go about fixing the problem?
But what I usually do is to help to teach a university when I can. I go to speak to university, and I think we must start from the first phase of involvement in the teaching path of girls, but to promote open source and its basic values to students, and then to recruit as much as possible as women, because obviously the mean is now to improve the number of women for men. We can debate about different behavioral traits. If we can accept stereotypes, but the key point is if differences exist, differences are not deficiencies, are potential values, are means to learn. I said her in advance that if I want to tell a customer the potential value of open source, I have to tell him a story, and I have to put emotion in a story. I don't want to say that women are more emotional than men, but many times they are more able to put emotion in it. So to have a woman is, in the same moment, how to learn, to teach a man to put emotion in a story.
So you've both said that there are cultural issues with women getting involved in free software projects. Now, if you try to change the culture, is there a certain amount of collateral damage, a certain amount of existing free software contributors who you would expect to leave the project because they don't feel that the culture corresponds to them anymore? Or is that something that you don't think is desirable, Margarita?
I don't think there would be that many project members that would leave. For example, one of the things that was changed in Debian because of the Debian Women project was the amount of flame wars, of discussions that got ugly in the mailing list. And I don't think nobody left because of that. On the contrary, more people were welcome in Debian because the climate in the mailing list was nicer. So I don't think changing the culture to be more welcoming, more well-receiving of women is going to lose any contributor. And if it loses some contributors, it's not so much of collateral damage because you are opening the doors to the 50% of the world. So.
Open source is the place of richness, not of scanty resources. So if we have differences in people, not in men or women, they are opportunities. There are not difficulties, differences. We need more informed people, also in the developer community. Then everyone can make its own choice.
Do you think that improving communities to have more women will also result in broader communities in terms of more cultural involvement from non-English speakers, from Asian participants and developers, for example?
I'm not sure only promoting for women will bring the rest of the diversity. That's something interesting. In Python, there's not a women community. It's a diversity community. It's Python diversity. And I think it's also necessary to think about that. Women are underrepresented, but a lot of other groups are also underrepresented in the free software world. So yeah, we should do something else, but I'm not sure what.
In my opinion, I think that women are more able to manage in a holistic vision. The term holistics comes out from the pool launched by the diversity think tank. I think they approach the world with a more systemic approach. I don't know if it's the main issue, but we need an holistic vision. We need to include, we need to improve our communities, and for sure women help.
So thank you very much. It's been a very interesting debate, and I'm sure that the thoughts that have grown out of this conference and the think tank that you participated in yesterday will enrich many free software projects for months to come.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. That was yet another debate from the Open World Forum 2010, and see you soon on Intelli'N TV.